Good morning. It is 6:23. So this is a wedding tradition here in the Valley, the cookie table. But do you know how it all got started? We're actually going to get the sweet details of that in today's edition of Throwback Thursday with the Mahoning Valley Historical Society. We have Tracy Manning joining us now. Good morning to you, Tracy. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. So this is an interesting thing because it's so common here in the Valley, but I wanted to ask you, is this cookie table tradition something that's unique to the Valley?
Yes. So from what we know, this goes back to the turn of the 20th century, so more than 100 years ago, as Southern and Eastern European immigrants were coming into Youngstown and the Mahoning Valley for work, mostly in those huge steel mills that were kind of starting up at that point. A lot of those folks were Italian, so most of the roots go back to Italian culture.
So I know there is something about the discussion between wedding cakes and cookie tables, right? So explain to me more of the roots of that, of how the cookies got involved.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different kind of origin stories, if you will. One of them is what's called a cookie dance. This goes back to Italian weddings where the cake was actually made of cookies, and the bride and groom would lead all of their guests around it. They'd dance around the table, and everyone would be invited to take a cookie. There's also some stories that just talk about the huge Christmas spreads that families would put together for, a few hundred of their closest friends and family. And baking that the big was kind of in their blood naturally. So that's a little bit about where we think this tradition came from. But of course, it's very economic and it gets a lot of people involved. So as folks were struggling with money 100 years ago, it was a lot easier to ask all the aunts and the grandmas to get involved and make cookies.
I know. And, I grew up in Pittsburgh before I moved to Youngstown, and cookie tables were a thing there too. So where did this tradition in our area get started?
We're never going to know. Both cities completely claim it as their own. It's kind of a fun debate back and forth these days, but Pittsburgh lays claim just as hard as we do here in Youngstown. But I think we all know the truth, right? It started right here in the Valley. That's what we're sticking to.
I think so too. And that's my opinion growing up in Pittsburgh too, after living here in Youngstown. So I know usually the cookie table event is one of the biggest ones that you have, right? So tell me, what's the status of it for this year? I know we're in the middle of a pandemic still, so what's it looking like?
So everything we're doing this year is going to be online. That includes our basket raffle and our silent auction, which are both still open if folks want to get tickets or make some bids on the auction item. And then coming up this Saturday at 6 o'clock is the world premiere of our cookie table at home video. This is put together with special guests. We've got world premiere music and a lot of surprises in this video. So we're encouraging folks to either make their own cookies or head out to their favorite bakery, get some cookies, and then curl up around their TV or computer screen at 6 o'clock on Saturday and celebrate this tradition with us.
Yeah, it's a good fundraising opportunity too. But I know, Tracy,
yes,
not every year has been digital, right? So tell me, in past events, what were the most popular cookies? Especially, I know there's a contest involved too in former years.
We do. So our judging process, we have over 95 entries into this cookie table, and it is a contest, and we have about 40 judges that will judge those cookies. The most popular in the past are, of course, the ones you would expect: kolache, clothespins, buckeyes, those really, really traditional cookies. But we've also had some interesting ones like a spicy chocolate brownie and cookies that are inspired by cocktails, which is the other part of the event. So there's been a really great wide variety over the years.
Very cool. Well, Tracy, let's get the information up there one more time for people to get involved and again, support local, especially with this Valley tradition. So we're going to put that information on the screen one more time for folks who want to participate. Again, you can get involved in silent auctions, or you can actually watch this main video event on Saturday. But Tracy, a big thank you for joining us. We're going to see you in a couple weeks for another Throwback Thursday, okay?
Yes. All right. Thank you.
There we go. All righty. Thank you, Tracy and Emily. Let's send things on over to you for a pretty sweet forecast.